Hey, what's up, fellas? How you doing? Man, Antonelli here.
Hey, what's going on, guys? How we doing? Man, Antonelli here. Now, I wanted to shoot this video out a couple weeks ago because this happened a few weeks ago. It's Quinnipiac versus Mississippi State, okay? It's late in the game. It's a tight game, close game, 3-2 count. Pitch is thrown inside part of the plate. Catcher set up away. Ball is thrown in. Umpire calls a ball in a huge part of the game. Catcher goes bananas, voices his displeasure, and gets tossed out of the game. Now, when this originally happened, Twitter was going nuts talking about this from a few different perspectives, and so I want to hit on it and talk about it and get your opinion. So put your opinion in the comment section below. Okay, two things. Let's go over two things. One, was it a ball or was it a strike? Okay, that's the first thing. This isn't the most important thing, but here's my thing with this. Okay, is it a strike? Yeah, it's probably a strike, especially in college. I mean, I think it's close enough. It's a strike. But I will say it's a very hard call for the umpire. And I know you're saying it doesn't matter where the catcher catches it. It's where the ball crosses the plate. And I understand that. But I've seen some really bad umpiring in college, okay? So this call doesn't surprise me at all. I've seen a lot more egregious calls than this. But when the catcher is set up in one spot and he has to do this to catch a ball, most umpires, whether the ball crosses the plate or close to the plate or not, you're just making it tough on the umpire to make that call in a close call. Now, if it's right down the middle, okay, yeah, it's easy, they can do it. But when the ball is like on the black or maybe a smidge off and it's a close call, to have this going on at the same time makes it really, really difficult for them. I'm not saying that it was a ball or it should have been called a ball. I'm just saying it makes it tougher, okay? That's the first thing. Okay, the second thing and the bigger thing is, should the catcher have been thrown out? Okay, so I have a few points on this. The first, it's tough to say exactly without knowing what he said, right? So we can see he's obviously very upset, takes his helmet off, and he's doing this stuff. But it's hard to say without knowing what he said. It does matter what he said. There are certain things that you cannot say to an umpire. If you've seen Bull Durham and seen Crash Davis' scene where he gets ejected from the game, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, just go on YouTube and type in Crash Davis ejected or something like that. Make sure you're older, though, because there's some words in there that if you're a younger player, mom and dad might not want you to hear. But great movie, by the way. But there's some words that you can't say. And typically what happens is when you're talking to the umpire, and this depends on the level a little bit. Like when you get into the major leagues and stuff, you can get away with a lot more than you can in Little League. Like if you're a Little League and you say anything to the umpires, you could get ejected, okay? But usually when you get to a high level college, and especially in professional, as long as you don't say you and then anything bad after that, you're usually okay. You can typically talk to the umpire and say, that's a bad call. You missed that call. You can say all that stuff. But you can't say, like, you anything. All the words I want to say, I'm not allowed to say here on YouTube. Okay, you stink. Okay, we'll say that. You stink. You can't say you. Even if you said you stink to the guy, he's probably going to throw you out. If you said that call stinks, you might be okay. You should be okay, unless the umpire's just, really insecure and he's having a bad day. You should be all right. Okay, so that's the first thing. Just make sure there's no you anything at any level, even in the big leagues where you can jaw with the guy a good amount. You can't say you anything. Okay? Number one. Now, number two, you also, umpires don't like to be shown up. And so you can't, like, you can get angry with the guy again, right? But you can't show him up and let everybody know that you're wearing this guy out. And you can see, even at the beginning of this, the umpire doesn't throw him out right away. But the catcher does come up and he rips his face mask off, and then he turns back at him, he's yelling. And the umpire first, I think, is like, all right, I mean, this guy's showing me up pretty good here, but big part of the game, I get it. But then he kind of keeps going, and then he gets tossed. Now, does he get tossed because he kept going, or did he get tossed because he said something that the umpire didn't like you, beep, beep, beep? I don't know, and nobody knows unless you're the catcher, the umpire, or somebody that's really close, on that team. But those are the two basic rules, okay? And I thought that, listen, if he didn't say anything, you, whatever, should he have been tossed? Probably not, if he didn't say anything bad. But if he kept it up and he kept screaming and yelling, eventually you're going to get tossed, right? Because, like I said, especially at the college level, you can't be showing up the umpires. Now, what happens usually at a higher level, especially in pro ball, I've heard this happen all the time. I've heard catchers arguing with umpires or even letting the umpire have it, but they don't take their mask off and they don't turn back and look at them. They just yell stuff looking straight ahead. So I've seen plenty of times the catcher thinks the ball's a strike, and the umpire calls it a ball, and as they kind of hit it, and now they're throwing it back, and as they're doing this, they're yelling at the guy. And then they're getting down, and they're getting ready to get a sign, and they're still yelling at the guy. And the umpire yells back at them, and I've heard them having an argument. Now, the catcher never says you anything. He just lets them know that he missed the call. It's a terrible call. He's been, making bad calls all day. But he doesn't say you, and usually I've seen that happen a lot, and nobody gets tossed, okay? So that's pretty much how you have to deal with it. Now, let me know your opinion in the comment section below, what you think about this. Again, I know it's hard to say without knowing exactly what was said, but just give me your overall opinion of the call and then also the ejection. I'd be interested to hear. That's all we have. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. Thank you to our patrons who support us on Patreon. And that's all we have. We'll talk to you later.